Welcome back, everyone, to the Suburban Rifleman. There is a corporate event going on at the gun club today, so there's quite a bit of shooting noise. I apologize for that. Today, we're mostly out here just to make to do a little bit of shooting, some fun shooting, and I thought I'd make a couple of videos. One I do want to talk about a little bit is my dad and I have both brought our SIG P229s with us. Both of these they're exactly the same. They both feature the double action Kellerman trigger. They were both originally, or still are, chambered in 40 Smith Wesson. I like mine quite a bit. It's one of my primary carry guns. I like 40 Smith Wesson. But if you know anything about the SIG P229, one of the big selling points was you could switch calibers very easily. Magazines are the same, slide, everything is the same, except for the barrels. You could switch back and forth between 40 Smith & Wesson and 357 SIG. That was, part of the design parameters of the pistol from the get-go. The 40 Smith & Wesson came out in the very early 1990s, and the 357 SIG came out just shortly after that. A lot of people say that the 357 SIG is, in fact, a 40 Smith & Wesson necked down to 357 caliber. That's actually not entirely true. Well, first of all, it's not necked down to 357. It's necked down to 356. 9mm pistol bullets, not 357 diameter revolver bullets. Second of all, it's not the 40 Smith & Wesson case necked down. Both of the cases are, in fact, based on the 10mm auto case, but the 357 SIG is actually a little bit longer, so that when it's necked down and compressed and it shrinks lengthwise, it ends up being the same case length as the 40 Smith & Wesson. But if, in fact, you took a 40 Smith & Wesson case and necked it down, it would end up being considerably shorter. So they both have the same head diameter. They're both based on the 10mm, but they're not the same thing. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take a few shots with 40 Smith & Wesson out of my P229. My dad is going to take some shots with his P229, 40 Smith & Wesson. Then I have an aftermarket, and of course it's not right here. So I brought something with me. If you have a SIG P229 that's already chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson, SIG sells these replacement barrels. This is a P229 barrel, but it's chambered in 357 SIG. Likewise, if you had a P229 in 357 SIG, you could get an aftermarket 40 Smith & Wesson barrel. Well, not aftermarket. These are actually made by SIG Sauer in Newington, New Hampshire. So we're going to install this barrel into my pistol, and we're going to try shooting some 357 SIG. I provided the barrel. The old man provided the ammunition, and we're going to see what the difference is like. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot mine first. Then my dad will take a few shots with his P229 and 40 Smith & Wesson. Then we're going to drop this barrel into one of the pistols and shoot some 357 SIG. Okay, so my dad's going to be shooting 165 grain UMC. What are those, FMJs?
Yeah, they're kind of blunt nose.
Yeah, they're like a truncated cone, but they're a full metal jacket. And I am going to be shooting Federal. This is law enforcement ammo. I don't remember the exact series name of it. I think these are 185 grain hollow points. This is my normal carry ammo. I'm sacrificing a magazine. And really, when you come to the range, you shouldn't just shoot range ammo anyway. You should always take some time to shoot a little bit of your carry ammo as well. So this is 40 Smith & Wesson out of the P229. All right, That's 12 rounds of my carry ammo. So 40 Smith & Wesson, one of the, I don't really think it's all that brutal. It is a little bit worse than 9mm, but one of the major criticisms of the 40 Smith & Wesson is it's a bit snappier than 9mm, and it's harder to train people to use effectively. So we'll let Dad take a few shots, and then we'll switch over to 357 SIG. A little left. There you go.
Okay.
All right, so we've both shot one mag of 40 Smith & Wesson. Now I'm going to drop the 357 SIG barrel into my P229, and we'll shoot some 357 SIG and see what the difference is. Okay, so here we are. Same exact P229, same exact magazines. These are 125 grain FMJs. You can see the bottleneck design of the cartridge. So we now have a P229 chambered in 357 SIG. These are first shots through a brand new barrel. I've never shot 357 SIG before, so we'll see how it does. Look at all those brand new smiley marks on that brand new barrel. I would say that the recoil is definitely noticeably less. But we'll let Dad take a few shots and see what he thinks. So I noticed lower recoil impulse with the 357 SIG. I wouldn't say it's dramatically different, but it's definitely different. And it's actually surprising because the 357 SIG was really designed to duplicate 125 grain jacketed hollow point 357 mag ammo that law enforcement was already familiar with and very confident in. It doesn't feel like shooting a 357 mag to me. It is, in fact, somewhat lighter than the 40 Smith & Wesson. We'll see what Dad thinks. I noticed I had to shoot pretty high. I was aiming at the top of the plates.
Oh, I was. You were aiming high?
Yes.
Okay.
With that gun.
Yeah. Okay. That's the problem. I was shooting too low. Well, I didn't do too well there, but.
Well, I didn't really tell you where my pistol was shooting, first of all.
I don't think recoil was any worse at all than the 40 Smith & Wesson.
No, I think it's somewhat less than the 40 Smith & Wesson.
Yeah,
it's only 125 grain bullet as opposed to 185 grain bullet. In my, what did you say yours was?
The 40 Smith Wesson?
Yeah.
165.
165. I think mine are 185. I think those 125 grain bullets are actually less recoil.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, try it again. Now that you know where my pistol's shooting, since I wasn't nice enough to tell you where it was shooting before you started shooting it. My bad.
Okay. It was fine. I liked it.
So I don't know if we learned anything. I would say, in my estimation, the recoil with the 357 SIG is somewhat less than the 40 Smith Wesson. It's going to take a bunch more shooting, though. It's always difficult with a brand new gun or a brand new, in this case, just a brand new barrel. But I like it. I got to get a bulk purchase of 357 SIG together so that we can test it more extensively. But I think as a first experiment, it went pretty well. We got some other stuff out here. We got my dad's Beretta A300. I brought a couple of, well, actually I bought 322s. So we're going to do a couple other short shooting videos. And when I post those, I hope to catch each viewer then. Later, guys.